How are we doing there, boys and girls? Manthieus here, and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to have a little bit of a look at Enchanting. Enchanting is going to be super cool in Dragonflight. We're going to be responsible for making everybody's gear that little bit stronger. And it's quite a simple one to level up. I've done a little bit of testing here on the beta, and I've figured out a nice, smooth and easy path without too many hurdles in to get yourself leveled up nice and quickly. And more importantly, I've worked out exactly what materials are needed to do it. So if you want to run to the auction house, grab up a couple of materials and get going with this, you can speed through this nice and quickly. That's the aim, at least. When it comes to putting this little path for leveling together, I've gone by the theory of doing it cheap as possible. I've tried to use as fewer materials as possible, producing as little waste as possible, and should hopefully mean that you can level this up quite quickly and without too much of an expense at the start of the expansion. We know at the beginning of the expansion most of the materials are usually really expensive, so efficiency is quite important to a lot of us. So let's get going then. What you can see on screen is the materials that are needed. Now all of this information and more is going to be available in my Dragonflight goal making cheat sheet. I have leveling paths for all of the professions in here, and you can see the enchanting one here in the path that we take. My Twitch subs, my YouTube members and my patrons will find a link to the cheat sheet over in the Discord. So go jump over there, grab yourself a copy of it and let me know what you think. So let's get going then. We're firstly going to look at crafting a rune ceravite rod. This is going to be our first introduction to a profession tool. We have profession tools and profession accessories in Dragonflight, which is quite cool. Another way to sort of customize our characters that little bit further. I'm going to craft one of these before moving on to some writs of versatility. These things we're going to get us to skill 5. Nice little perk in Dragonflight is you can actually queue up enchants this time, which is really nice. We're going to craft 3 of these to get to skill 5. And then from skill 5 we're going to need to learn a few new recipes. Let's grab the trainer window. Let's get that open. Enchanting, here we go. Here we go. Grab some new recipes. This leveling path is also only going to use trainer recipes, so there's no need to be running out and grinding renown or anything like that for the initial stage. You will only get to about 50 skill points though before you are going to have to kind of go out and find something to level up from that point on. Trainer recipes will only get you so far in Dragonflight, and this is entirely by design. In many cases, you'll then need to look at using your specialization trees. You'll need to go out and grind some reputation to get access to a few new patterns. Or if you're trying to level this up a little bit after the expansion has been out for a while, you may even find a few recipes on the auction house. But let's move on then. So from 5 to 10, we are going to craft a few of the ring enchants. We're going to craft a few of these. Now we need to craft 5 in total to get to skill 10, so you might want to craft a selection of these, or you can just choose to craft 5 of the same one if you're comfortable in selling them or have use for them. Let's queue those up and get those crafted. That'll get us to 6, to 7, to 8, to 9, and then finally to 10. At this point, we'll unlock the runed draconium rod. This is our first slightly higher quality crafting tool. We're going to craft a few of these to be precise. We're actually going to craft, I think, 4 of these. This is where you're going to need to start getting some materials that are not usually native to enchanting. There's a lot of cross-pollination with the professions in Dragonflight. You tend to need materials from all over the place. This is to kind of build that community feel, I guess, or in many cases it just means you'll go buy them off the auction house. We're going to make 4 of these, and also when crafting these we're going to try and equip one of these if possible as well. The one that we're going to want to equip is probably going to be either the highest quality. You can see we're making quality 2 variations of these now, or if we get one that's got some funky stats on it. We've got one that's got plus multi-craft. Multi-craft isn't really going to help us too much at this point, although does it? Yeah, multi-craft doesn't actually work on a lot of things. So multi-craft for an enchanter is not super cool. Resourcefulness is probably the big one. If we can get some resourcefulness bonus, that's always nice. Resourcefulness will save you some materials. So although I've quoted for the materials needed without requiring any procs. It does mean that you might finish this little path with a few bonus ones, which is nice. Let's get these new recipes learnt then, and then we're going to move on to, this should be 22 skill points, it is. This is where we move on to crafting a single one of these, the spectacle. We're going to craft one of the air ones, this guarantees as a skill point. We're then going to craft a couple of the frosts. We're going to need to craft 2 of these. This should get us to 25. 24 and 25. There we go. Lovely stuff. It's at 25 skill points you'll start to be able to have a little bit of a play with the specializations. Now at this point you're not going to have much knowledge. You're not going to have many knowledge points to spend here. So my recommendation is just hang fire for now. You can have a little bit of a read through this and maybe look at some other guides and information to maybe how you'd like to spec into enchanting. But my recommendation for most is just to kind of park this for a minute, get yourself leveled up a little bit further, and then sit down and have a little bit of a read through these to make sure you don't put any points places you don't want them to. One thing that's going to be quite crucial to understand in Dragonflight is that when you spend these knowledge points in the talent trees, there's no undo button. Once you've spent a point in a spot, it's spent. So you want to be really quite careful, making sure that you only spend them exactly where you want them to go. Because yeah, no undo button. So we've got to 25 skill points. Now we probably, what do we want to do? Writ of Speed is the one we want to be doing. Probably Speed, Leech, or Avoidance, to be honest. This is another one of the choices. We're going to make 3 of them. You can either craft 3 of the exact same one, or you can craft 3 different ones if you're trying to get the bonus first time crafts. It's entirely up to you. The material usage is exactly the same. I'm going to craft 3 of these quickly now. That should get us to 28. In fact, at this point, it's probably better to craft 3 of the speed ones. A single leech and a single avoidance, because we might push these all the way to 30, actually. We might push these all the way to 30. That will guarantee us our first time craft bonus as well. First time craft bonus is going to give you artisan's metal, and it's also going to give some knowledge points to spend as well. Devotion versatility. This is going to be one we're going to be crafting a bunch of. This is the only thing that's going to give us skill points from here. We need guaranteed skill points. It's always better to go for those guaranteed skill points where you can. And this is going to be the first time that we start using the vibrant shards. We're going to need a whole bunch of these. I think we're actually crafting 5 of these. So let's change that to 5 and click go. Nothing else is going to guarantee us getting there. So we might as well spend the materials now. You can see this is one of the enchants that you're really going to have to drive your skill number up. Crafting the top quality enchants, quality 3 enchants, is going to be a real long-term endgame goal for you for enchanting, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to take a fair amount of time. It's going to require you to get a lot of knowledge points and spend them all very effectively in your specializations. But of course, like I said earlier, leveling is the first thing we need to get done. So let's grab those. From 36, we'll make a single devotion of mastery. We'll then make a single devotion of crit. And we'll finish it off with a handful of devotion of haste. I reckon I have a suspicion, this is only a guesstimate, but I reckon the haste ones might end up being a little bit more easy to sell. This is just a guess. People are always slow at the beginning of an expansion, so crafting a few more haste ones might be helpful. This has got us to skill 40. We can grab up a few more of the recipes. This is where you may need a few more or a few less materials, depending on just how lucky you are. We can start crafting a few of these. If we craft the frost ones, fire, earth, or air ones, you can kind of pick and choose how you want to do this, but you're only going to get guaranteed skill points for the first couple of these. 41... 42. Probably 3 of each is what's going to be needed. 3 of those. Make 3 earth. It's at 45. They should go yellow, which means we won't strictly guarantee skill points. But if we're lucky, we will get skill points for each one. And that will get us up to 50. Like I said, you may need a handful more materials if RNG doesn't bless you nicely. We do 3 more air. We should only maybe need 2. We might be lucky. You can also see our our resourcefulness is kicked in a few times here. It's saved us some materials, which is quite nice. These secondary stats are going to play a big part for us as we progress through Dragonflight, and stacking these is going to be where the maths guys out there will have a big advantage, as they'll be able to more accurately price things to make that little bit of profit. Now we've hit skill 50 though. Skill 50 is the last point to which we can learn trainer recipes. And at this point, I would probably recommend just pausing here before going too much further. Now, you can go out and look at crafting some of these weapon enchants. These are then going to start using crystals, and this is going to start getting remarkably expensive very, very quickly. I would probably suggest looking at the spec trees in a little bit more detail here and deciding where you want to spend some of your starting points. If you followed this guide as I went through it, you'll probably have 18 to 20 knowledge points to spend at this point. But you definitely are going to want to go out and get more of these. You get some of these through multiple different sources. You can get knowledge points, as you saw, through first time crafting anything. There are weekly quests that can be done in the main crafting area of Valdrakken, and there are even some treasures and some quests and world quests and stuff that can be done to get extra knowledge if needed. But from this point out, you've got enough points to unlock 2 of the specialization trees. And this is the key thing for me more than anything else, is getting people access to 2 specialization trees means you should be able to push forward and get your enchanting to a really nice profitable state. And you can actually see we've been left with a couple of materials left over because of our resourcefulness procs there, which was nice as well. So there we go. There's enchanting to 50. Going much further forward than this, you're going to be crafting weapon enchants, preferably selling them as fast as you can, and then going out there, maybe doing some renown grinding to get some of these additional materials. Dragon Scale Expedition, renown 9, Valdrakken, renown 11. So you can go out there and you can grab some of these extra patterns to help push you further to 100. But that's about as far as you can get with trainer recipes, and all you really need to get yourself up and running for the start of Dragonflight. So I hope that was helpful. If you like this video, boys and girls, remember to give the video a like. Consider subscribing if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.